And all right, it says that, oh, Mike, that's a good one. Welcome everybody that is live, that is here in the Zoom room, that is online. I'm gonna log in here on my stream online because I want to see all the chats today. I want to be able to engage with my with all my audiences as we are live streaming to Facebook and YouTube today. Today is the first time I'm having the FivefoldX Academy on a Sunday, and I'm really thrilled at the turnout. I was a little nervous because, you know, I set this particular session for the 5th of every month, and it just so happened that this time it fell on a Sunday, and I wasn't sure if everybody would make it, but Friday seems to be a really fantastic day because we've got a great turnout here in the room. And for those of you online who are browsing social media after an incredible time in the presence of the Lord, are you ready to learn? Because the subject today is going to be on an online conference checklist. Now, with the emergence of online churches, online schooling, we see both the pros and the cons, right? A lot of people miss the one-on-one interaction, but guys, there's something to be said for the fact that I don't need to pay for an air ticket, which, by the way, right now is ridiculously through the roof, right? You know that it's almost cost me as much to go abroad than it does just to go from the East and West Coast. I'm not even kidding you. Like, we know that flight prices are through the roof, so I have to fly to a conference, pay for your ticket. Yes, of course, it's better in person. But if you're wanting to attend more than one conference in a year, then you're going to have to forego a few things. You're going to have to forego your family vacation, or you're going to have to forego the renovations on your house. You're going to have to forego something. And so online conferencing has become a massive convenience. And dare I say, a new wave of technology that's allowed us to assimilate knowledge as never before, because we get the benefit of live engagement without us needing to have to uproot our entire lives and to go to another time zone just to receive that information. So when it comes to online conferencing, whether it's for your church, your ministry, or your business, I want to go through a checklist. Now, for those of you who are subscribed, who are members of the FivefoldX Academy, for those of you, my husband has done an incredible job. He's already taken my notes today, which are in beautiful step form. You know how I am, step 1, 2, 3. And he's created a PDF and a Word document that will be uploaded the moment the session is over. So you guys can literally take that. For those of you who use a program called Rome Research, my whole team uses that program. I can even provide it for you in a Rome Research format if you like. Throw it in your Rome, throw it in your Word document, keep a copy of it, put little check boxes, print it out for your admin. What I've started to recognize as we've been teaching FivefoldX Academy is that a lot of leaders, a lot of pastors, and a lot of business owners have been using these sessions for their team. And so they send a lot of their admins to us to go and watch. Like, for example, the teaching that Rebecca did on the Zoom meeting, how to work with Zoom, how to set up a Zoom meeting. I mean, this has become invaluable for so many leaders that need their admins to do that for them during their meetings. So we're going to keep compiling this. This week, like I said, I'm going to give you a checklist. And guys, for those of you watching online, you want to pull out a pen and a paper and you want to start making a note. Did you do this at your last online meeting? Okay, let me ask you this. Can I get real with your life? I'm going to get real with your life. What was your decided outcome for your last online conference? What was the point? What was the point of it? Why did you have it? And what were you hoping to get from it? Because if you told me, well, that I'm just starting to have an online conference because it was a great idea, God told me, that means you didn't finish thinking it through. You see, God can give you an instruction, but God doesn't mean for you to just take the first instruction he gives you and then just do it without any follow through or thinking. There has to be a reason why God gave you that instruction. If God told you to host a conference or start a meeting, there was a purpose for it, okay? So, all right, we've got some good. We've got teaching. Good. I'm really so grateful for those of you in the room, and I hope you're ready to be challenged. I want to take you deeper on that. What kind of teaching, Audra? What did you want them to learn? Because I'm teaching year 2. If I had to say what I want you to get out of this is just to learn, it's still too shallow. No, what I want by the end of this session is that by the time you guys are done, you know how to run not only a successful online conference. That's actually not my main reason. My main reason is that you get results, the results you require, the results God gave you for that online conference. Because just having a conference for the sake of having a conference is a waste of your time, it's a waste of your money, and it's a waste of good marketing. If you got no metric, if you got no results from that conference, you failed. Now, I'm not saying you weren't anointed. I'm not saying you weren't led. I'm saying you left out a few of these points. You want a result. My result that I want by the end of this session is every single one of you to have a metric at the end of your conference, that when you apply the points I teach you, that you get the results. Now, Andrea here says to facilitate an encounter with Jesus. Now, that's a little bit more specific, but what kind of encounter, Andrea? What kind of encounter? There are so many different encounters we can have. Do you want it to be a face-to-face encounter? Do you want them to flow in the gifts? Do you want them to speak in tongues? What kind of encounter? What does that even look like practically? Now, I'm going to use these two examples, and thank you so much, you two, for having the courage to jump in there. Please feel free to jump in. It's the only way you guys are going to learn, okay? For those of you, by the way, that want to be in the room, that are watching me online, you can go to myapostolicmentor.com and you can sign up. It's just a donation-based program. You can give whatever you can to support the work of others in the field. So, okay, so Audra's going deeper with me here. She says, I need to know how to get my lives podcast on several platforms at once. I have a Zoom account. I'll get to that. We use a program called Restream. There are a bunch of them. But for now, I want to know, what is the point of your conference? Because until you actually know what the purpose of your event is, you don't even have a starting point. Because even for the platforms that you stream it to, every platform is very specific. And you want to make sure that you're streaming to the right platforms as well. So when you say you want to facilitate an encounter with Jesus, what kind? If you say you want to teach, I want to ask you further, what do you want them to learn? You see, I can teach. I can teach about 100 different things, but what do I want you to learn? I want you to learn to get results. I want you to get the results you want from your event. So if I'm having a fundraising event, guys, can we just like talk about money? If I'm doing a fundraising event, what do you think the outcome should be? I mean, just throw it in the chat box. Like, if I am having a fundraising event, a donation-based event, there are a couple of things I might want, but what is the primary goal? There you go. We got a bunch of prophets in the room. Look at that. Raising funds. You should if I am having a fundraising event. So if I come to the end of an event and I had 300 people in attendance and the power of God fell and it was powerfully anointed, which sounds like a pretty cool event I would want to go to. Not dissing that event, but I'm saying, and you didn't even collect $1. Was it a successful event? On the flip side, I'm looking at Andrea's desire to have an event whereby people experience a face-to-face relationship with Jesus. So say now, you have 300 people come to your event, okay? And you raise $10,000 at that event, and not a single one experiences Jesus in any way. Was that a successful event? Right? Do you understand? Do you track in with me here? What do you want out of this? Do you want engagement? Do you want to increase your numbers? Is it for finances? Is it solely for ministry? You've got to decide, because you can have a mix of the two, but you still need to be able to gauge your success. What are you gauging your success by? Because it's predetermined, guys. You don't get to the end of the event and say, well, I think that went pretty well. Everybody had a good time. Yeah, but you spent more money on the event than you got out of it. That was not a successful event, especially if it's a fundraiser. Okay, if it was a business event and you brought everybody in to learn and study culture and they went away not applying any of it, it was a failure of an event, even if everybody had a great time and went home and spoke about it. If you didn't achieve your objective, it was unsuccessful. And so that's Step number one, what's the purpose of your event? Once you know the purpose of your event, and I encourage for those of you in the room, as I'm going through these points, you're more than welcome to put down your answers, what you would put in your event, and I'll have some engagement with you. For those of you online, if any of my team are watching online, you can help the people as they write down theirs as well. All right, you know what your purpose of your event. Everybody throw down. Just come up with an event. Okay, so Audra says deliver, disciple, and build ministry. Pick one. That's like 3 events. Do you see do you see the focus? Do you see how you're throwing your seat so wide? Listen, this is online. You know, you can do that at a live event where you have multiple speakers over 3 days, but this is an online event. Guess what? You can have as many as you like, but every single event should be specific. Build ministry. Excellent. What kind of ministry, Jackie? Audra wants to teach on the refinement process. Audra, what did I say? Andrea and Audra, you two are messing with me today. I'm messing up your names. Andrea and Audra. So Audra says, I'll get this right, I swear. I want to teach on the refinement process. Audra, I want to throw it back to you again. But what will they learn? I know you keep telling me what you want to teach them, but what should they walk away with? What should they learn? Inner healing, says Andrea. Excellent. So that's the kind of encounter. Now that I didn't put in my list, Andrea says she wants them to have an inner healing encounter. All right, that changes everything. Andrea, that changes everything about your event. That's not just an encounter. That's a deep, intimate process that you're going to need to take them to. Good. You're ready for point 2. What's your headline going to be then? And your byline. You want a title and you want a byline. In other words, inner healing. What's your byline? Break out of your prison. Make a prison break. Make a prison break. I'm just going by the seat of my pants here. Roll with me. Jackie Miller says apostolic prophetic intercession. Jackie, pick one. I love you guys so much. You're just jumping in there. You're not even ashamed to just be like messing up. Come on. That's what I'm talking about. I love my trainees in my FivefoldX Academy. They learn, and you know what I love about them? They apply it. And I see them having successful events. I see them starting successful landing pages. I see them starting successful bookshops online, making money online, publishing their books. And that's what I want to see. I want to see your success. That's my metric, right? Because that's what I'm having these sessions for. Jackie, pick one. Get yourself a title and a byline. Make it short, snappy, and inventive. No cliches, guys. How to break the chains and not hold them back. Audra, that's what she wants for hers. What kind of chains? Are we talking demonic chains? Change generational bondages? Are we talking on addiction chains? What kind of chains? Get more specific, Audra. You use a Rhema scripture for each event? Boring. I agree with you, Andrea. That is boring. She's like, I've got to shake it up. Come on. There's some prophetic in you. Guys, you can literally ask the Holy Spirit and he can give you a prophetic tagline. You know, when I busted into Jessica's office the other day, and there she was. I do that, by the way. I just go and surprise people in their offices. So anyway, I busted into her office and there she is working on a book cover with her eyes closed, her hands raised. I mean, this is her office. She should be working. And guess what? She was. Because she was getting a download from heaven on what to put on that book cover. She taps into the prophetic realm for the spirit of creativity to design on the page. That's why her covers are so powerful. You can do that too, by the way. You can get a prophetic word, a prophetic vision, and a word of knowledge or wisdom for your byline. And you really can. Okay, so Jackie says, increase in answered prayer. Jackie, that's good. Answered prayer is a powerful topic. Now that's interesting because you said prophetic, apostolic, and intercession, but when you really thought about it, you actually zoned right down to answered prayer. Very good. What's your title and byline? And guys, Andrea's saying she needs help. Please jump in and help one another. Let's get this event of yours going. All right. Now the next thing, guys, is you need your event email template and content creation. In other words, children of God, if you don't tell people that you're having the event, angels are not going to carry the message to them. Now, this is one time not to use just prophetic revelation. This is when we go into the realm of business, application systems, and boring admin stuff, okay? You have to email God's people and say, hey, come and be set free. We're breaking the chains of demonic bondage. We're having a session on inner healing. Come and get out of your prison. Come make a prison break. You're going to get delivered. I don't know, whatever it is that you're going to do. By the time we're done with this workshop, you're going to know how to get answers to your prayers. Boom, make it clear. And so you need yourself a nice email template, and you are going to email your mailing list at least once a week up until about 2 weeks to the event. And after that, you are going to write them at least every 3 days until a couple of days before the event. Then it's every day. And then you're going to send them another email when the event starts with the link. Guys, it takes at least 7 to 9 touches before someone's going to hit that button. Now, you could take this 2 ways. And I want to address a fear in the room. I want to address a fear. You're so afraid that people are going to unsubscribe from your mailing list because you email them too many times. In which case, I need to ask, then, are they really your audience? Because I'm on mailing lists for certain stores where the seasons are closed, they bring up like, okay, this is just me. I like the store White House Black Market, okay? And they send me all these mailings. Now, I don't always like what they bring out in that season. In fact, sometimes I'll look at all their sales and special and go, I cannot stand the style. I cannot stand the color. I do not unsubscribe. You know why? Because maybe next season, they'll have something I do like. So I'm a very loyal customer. So I stick on that mailing list, right? And it's the same to be said for other mailing lists I'm on. Like, I'm on Apostle Ryan's mailing list. Now, a lot of the things he mails, I either have the books already, or I'm really not going to make it to that event. You know what? I just scroll past until something comes at me in that subject line that does pique my interest. And then I click and I read it. Loyal customers, loyal audience, loyal students will not delete you. And if they do, they weren't loyal. I've had people on our mailing list for the last 28 years. I mean, they literally joined the first mailing list we ever had in 98. Like, legit. And I know I've sent some terrible stuff to, there's some stuff I should never have sent to my list, but they're loyal. And isn't that the people you want at your event? Email them, let them know. Let them know, especially for those of you who are working with nonprofit organizations. If you're having a fundraiser, and these are people who are already donors, they are not going to get mad at you sending out mailings, letting them know that they can be part of something they're financially invested into. Look at all of you sitting in this room. How many emails did you get to get yourself to this event? We sent you a whole bunch. And yeah, look at your beautiful faces. What do you know? You showed up. Why? Because you want this. So just bind that fear in the name of Jesus. Bind that fear of man. Bind that fear of losing people. Listen, I am not discouraged when people leave my mailing list. You know why? They save me money. It costs to have people on a mailing list. And the more people you have and the more mailings that you do, you are paying more money. So I'd be like, you just saved me. If you don't want what I've got, I am grateful for you to leave because I'm saving money. Why should I continue sending out emails, paying money to be on a system to people who don't want what I got? And by the way, I'm not in the business of forcing anyone to want what I got. They either want it or they don't want it. And if they don't want it, it's best they're not on my list. Guys, can we just get rid of the spirit of rejection in our lives? Because it's standing in the way of your business. It's standing in the way of your success in both ministry, in business, and in your relationships. You're too afraid to just say, I'm having this event because people are going to unsubscribe. Good. The people that stay, those are your lifetime customers. And you're going to love on them, and you're going to nurture them, and you're going to give them the best of what you have. Now we're really getting down to brass tacks. So email template, and then social media promotion. Make sure that it coincides with your email template I've got a bunch here in the notes that I'm not going to iterate in the live lecture, where I tell you what you should be putting in your email every single time. Download the notes and you'll read what an email template should look like and everything that it should have in it. I want to go too deep in what's in the email template, but I do want to say this. If you can come up with a theme now, we already have Andrea. She wants to have an event on inner healing. So inner healing, make the prison break. I'm just using, we're going with that. We're just going with that, okay? So then we're going to have a series of emails that are going to go out, okay, Andrea? Say now we're 2 weeks ahead, we're going to have 4, 8, about 8 emails. Let's just say 8 to 10 emails. You know, especially if you start like a few months ahead of time, sending one a week, let's just say. Now, what you're going to do is that you are going to put a theme for each one of those emails. And you're going to talk on the different aspects of inner healing. Why do they need a prison break? You're going to do little tidbits here and there. How narcissism programs you against yourself. And one little solution there. Attend my event, make a prison break. And then the next one's going to be how the spirit of rejection keeps you chained to the wall. Make a prison break, attend my event. And you give them a little bit of a nurture them. And you give them what Dr. Green used to call results in advance. I love that he taught me that. He said, with every marketing email you send out, you give them results in advance. And in other words, you're already giving them an answer to their problem, but not the full answer. So they got to come to your event, right? And then you've got the next one, sexual abuse. Break the silence. Make a prison break. Subscribe for my event. Now you notice that I always use your byline. I'm always using your byline. Every single email. Now, once you've got a theme for all of those emails, how cool is this, y'all? You just can now line it up with your social media. So you write your email, you make a little graphic, use similar wording, you can schedule all your social media. Guys, let me give you a little bit more advice. Do this all ahead of time. For those of you who have admins, schedule everything. There are tons of systems you can use to schedule all of these ahead of time. And in fact, even a lot of the social media allowed you to schedule your posts anyway. So you can have this all set up and then go for a vacation for a week while the enrollments just come on in. How fantastic is that, right? So there you go, a nice little structure. You've got your email, you've got your social media, and then you need to decide on your team. Please don't decide on your team the day before. Okay, so true story. Telling on myself here. So we had one of our prophetic mentorship programs. It was way more popular than I expected it to be. And we had all of these people arrive. Now, I was planning to do breakout rooms, but I didn't expect such a huge turnout. I probably should have. We marketed it real good. And so I was going to do breakout, but I'm like, y'all, I can't prophesy over 100 people because we promised them we'd be ministering to them. So then the last minute, I'm getting hold of Deborah Ann. I'm like, girl, you better get here. I need a team together. Fortunately, we pulled it off last minute, but it was a little bit stressful because suddenly now we had to reach out to everybody. Do you have availability? Can you come and minister? Don't do that. It's those things that just give you anxiety and heartburn and gray hair. And we just bind that gray hair in the name of Jesus, okay? Let's make our lives. You see, all the women are like, boom. I felt the spirit of agreement with that. So decide on your team ahead of time. Who is your administrator? Who is your speaker? Who is your media coordinator? In other words, who's the person that's going to take that recording and send the recap out to everybody? Are you going to resend it out to everyone? And by the way, I do give you that structure in your notes as well. And then if you're going to have ministers, who are your ministers? Please decide that all ahead of time. Get yourself nicely organized. No last minute stuff. For the admins who are watching this, if you're doing this for your ministry leader or for your boss, make those lists for him of potential admins or potential coordinators or potential ministers. Present that to your apostle, present that to your boss, and then let them decide on the final. Don't just say, So who do you want to speak? Who's the media coordinator? Go to your apostle with some options, please. Just a little bit of help there for you admins. Now, let's look at our meeting structure. Just because it's online doesn't mean organization flies out the window. A raise of hands, and you can tell a story or two, especially those of you watching online. I'd love to hear your story on the worst organized online events. I mean, we all get technical issues. I mean, I've had it multiple times where we use the same equipment, the same settings, and then just suddenly the sound cuts out, or just suddenly the camera just changes its setting and everything goes purple. It's happened. Or we had one time where it was so cold in Descanso that the screen fogged up, it froze. And in the middle of me preaching, do you remember that, Nate? Suddenly the whole screen got fogged up, and there we were with hair dryers on our camera to defrost it. That happened. Now, I can't avoid those kind of things, but we can avoid, and heaters, yes, Mike, but we can avoid disorganization, all right? And here's I'm giving you a really simple structure. You want a welcome. Hi, guys. This is what we're doing here. Now, you may decide to do it yourself, or you may have an admin, but know ahead of time what you're going to say. Don't just put on and then fumble and bumble. You know, I had one of those meetings, you know, he kind of got on, oh, we're just waiting for people to join. And the cat was running across, and then he was shouting at his kid, hey, quiet down here. I'm into my meeting. And then, okay, just waiting for... Stop embarrassing us. Come on, y'all. Yeah, there's that, Brandy. She says, underestimating the length of the meeting and having the entire group kicked out because you didn't give the meeting enough time. Oh, yeah, we've all been there too. Yeah, you feel so awkward for the speaker. And let me tell you something. If you live stream that, once your live stream is at the end, it posts it to Facebook, to Insta, to YouTube, wherever. So for the rest of eternity, whoever lands on that thing sees you shouting at your kids. Y'all, it's like, you can't even go and cut that off now. So don't make it awkward and brand it forever. So, know what you're going to say the minute you come in. What is your welcome? How you're going to greet everybody? To do your announcements at the beginning. I sometimes do, but to do my, are you going to have opening or closing prayer? Now, I like to do that, especially when I'm doing my apprenticeship meetings, my ally meetings, of course, if I'm doing any teaching. But for FivefoldX and Launch You, I don't usually, because that takes up more time, and we're all Christians here. I assume you came in the spirit. I don't need to get into unity of you to teach you how to have an online meeting or to write your book. But I do absolutely private meetings, my teachings and whatnot. Oh, what about that sound coming in and out? Are we good, Mikey? Are we hearing it again? Cut out a bit. Okay, coming. What did I say? Now we're back again. Alrighty, I think it's time for us to buy a new cable. Well loved. This has been well loved. Is that good? Is that good? Yes. Can you hear me? All right. So we just took the cable out. What was I saying about sudden last minute things that go wrong? But all right. You don't always have to have prayer. Can I take away the guilt from you business people and from the fundraising people? It becomes a bit of a Christian cliche. I love prayer, but listen, I was praying before I stepped up here. I came here prayed up. I came here ready to give you what God's given me. And it might be a business teaching, but I still want to make sure that it carries His Spirit, right? So I don't need you to stand in agreement for me to pour out what God's given me. But if we were having a meeting that required unity of spirit, then I'm going to pray. But don't feel imprisoned by it. It should be something that's in alignment with the kind of meeting you're having, all right? This is an important one. Can you guys remember what I said the point was for this meeting? What is it? In fact, put it in the chat. What was it that I wanted you to take from this meeting? What do I want? What is the point of me doing this? Rebecca says, no 15 plus minutes prayer with millions of tongues. Agreed, Rebecca. Because remember, if you're streaming it online, that's what they're going to get. And everybody skips past those prayers. You know you do. I do. I didn't come here to pray with you. I came here to receive unless you're prophesying over me, then I'm cool. But yeah, unless it's a prayer meeting, yeah. There you go. How to get results from your online meeting. Thank you, Cheryl. Exactly. I said that at the very beginning. That was my promise. You're going to stick it through because I made you that promise. And if you're in this room because that's what you want, you're going to listen to my entire message to make sure you get it. Promise and promise big. For those of you who are my author apprentices, you know I teach you this all the time in your book. Promise and promise big. And do it at the beginning. It will keep your audience following you all the way through. Now, if you're having a speaker, like I'm my own speaker, but I often will have speakers coming to meetings if I'm hosting one, do the speaker introduction, give the promise first, and then the speaker introduction, okay? So as you do that, you're gonna be able to open the way for that speaker, because we don't want to make our speakers uncomfortable. There's nothing worse than a speaker that's not introduced well. I've seen this done so many times, and I've especially seen it done in live meetings. How many of you here have been in a conference and they introduced the speaker terribly? They just said their name. They didn't say why they were there. They didn't say what they were doing, what they were good at, why I should receive. They just assumed that you knew and threw that poor speaker up there. And then for the next 15 minutes, because I've been on both ends, I've made the mistake and I've been the speaker. And then I've got to spend 15 minutes trying to convince the people in the room why I should be there and why they should receive from me. Don't ever do that to a speaker. They'll never come back on your meeting. They'll never come back on your platform. All right. And then teaching content. I don't want to go too deep into this, but I love that one of our attendees already said this. How much time? How much time do you want them to speak, guys? Are you going to utilize breakout rooms? Will there be a project? You need to decide this all ahead of time. Now, Rebecca did an incredible teaching on how to host a Zoom meeting. For those of you who are going to use Zoom as your online platform, I suggest you go and listen to that and take down all her notes, because they go perfectly in line with what I'm teaching here. You want to make sure you know how to set the breakout rooms, who's in charge of the breakout rooms, and all of that administration is done way, way ahead of time. But I do want to say this. And this is where we drop the ball sometimes, in that we don't get enough audience engagement. You know, it used to really irritate me at church growing up that they always would make us say amen. I never got it. I was dragged there anyway. I didn't even want to be there. And then they made me shake hands with my neighbor. They make me high five the other neighbor. They made me say amen. They made me go to the back of the room and greet somebody at the back of the room, and then come back and greet somebody. I hated that stuff. And I never understood it until I grew up. And I realized it wasn't as spiritual as it was getting your audience to engage. You're actually breaking them out of a psychological box of isolation. And when you break somebody out of an isolation box, they're going to connect with their peers. And when they do that, you're going to get a corporate anointing. So although I was complaining, the point is it shook the room up. And when they're engaging and they get out of that isolation box, because listen to me, every single one of you go to a little room in your brain when you're in these meetings. Every single one of you. You get into a room in your brain. And for those of you who are particularly analytical, you start writing coding for that as the meeting's going on. And you can get so carried away that you get lost on what the speaker's saying, and there's no engagement. You don't remember. So as a speaker, you need to be aware of this, and you need to get people out of their boxes. You got to get them out of that room. And that's where engagement comes. Now, it's a little bit more challenging online. And that's why I said things like throw down an emoji. Give me the title for your next meeting. What do you guys think of that? Throw this in. Have you noticed a lot of preachers or speakers online, they'll say, put these words in the chat box, make a declaration. Why? Why are they doing that? Because when your audience engages with you, they get out of their isolation, they get out of their little room, and we make a spiritual connection. And when we make that spiritual connection, you're going to find it so much easier as a speaker, because then you start sensing what's in their spirit, especially for those of you who are prophetic. We feel the room, right? But sometimes you can walk into a room and it feels so cold. Okay, you need engagement. And this again, remember what I said at the beginning, you got to ditch that fear of rejection. You've got to ditch that people are just going to think I'm stupid and that I sound stupid. Yes, you are. And I promise you, the first couple of times you try, you probably won't do it right. But it doesn't matter. Just break them out of their box. You know, some people say, okay, they'll even start like this, and it's actually kind of smart. They'll say, if my audio is good, put a number 1 in the chat box. Now he knows his audio is good. So why does he make his audience put the 1 in the chat box? Just to get engagement, to make sure that they're giving the screen attention and that they're not giving their surroundings attention. For us, in a lot of our meetings, we make people put on the video. It helps with connection. And you can't hide, see? Haha. And you'll notice it when you're speaking too. It helps with connection. And I'm a bit of a stickler on this. Look, I know that it's common practice, and especially a lot of businesses, to just leave the video off. But then why have a Zoom meeting in the first place? Then you may as well just do an online webinar. You may as well just pre-record it and throw it up. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're going to have a conference online where everybody needs to be engaged, then, you know, I don't walk into a conference, into one of these prophetic conferences with a bag over my head. I don't. Like, who does that, right? I go to that conference and I show them exactly who I am. So why, when we come to these online conferences, should we disrespect one another? Should we disrespect our speaker just because of the convenience of technology? I mean, I understand sometimes, you know, maybe you had to go to the bathroom, maybe the kids are running wild, then say so. There's nothing wrong with it. I don't want you to feel bad, but I'm saying there's a lot to be said for engagement in these meetings. And those that engage, they're the ones that you're going to build lasting relationship with, okay? So call for member engagement, emojis, numbers, words. Look at Brandy. See, she's beautiful. She just popped her screen up. I think I guilted her into sharing her video. Yeah, she's like, yeah, I guilted you, but I'm so glad you did. Now I get to see your beautiful face. All right. So you've had your event, you've concluded well, you've got your, you know, I've even said, yeah, I've got a little note here for you guys that have the notes. Conclude well, decide on who will close the room and close it promptly. Rebecca did a great job of also sharing that in her Zoom teaching. But this year, this last little bit, remember I said at the beginning, for those of you watching, I said at the beginning, I want you guys to get results. If you're having a fundraising event, you need to have made money. If you're having an inner healing event like Andrea, you want people to have left either having received inner healing or set up an appointment with a counselor for inner healing, like with Deborah and Michael Feltes, and they are the directors of the Next Gen Prophets Tribe. So when they have meetings, what they usually do is they set up follow-up appointments with those in the room that need a prophetic word or need some kind of counsel in their journey. And so that's what they want to do. But if you don't do this one thing, you're going to lose all metric. Don't think everybody is going to give that money in that Zoom meeting. Don't think they're going to get the inner healing in that meeting. You've got to follow up. You've got to follow up. Now, some will get their breakthrough in the meeting. Some will give in that meeting, and I've had that before. But don't assume that when you've ended the meeting that that's the end of the meeting. Biggest mistake that I've seen every ministry and every business make, truly, guys, is the follow-up. And I've given you guys a beautiful follow-up. You should write an engaging letter in no more than 24 hours after the event. No more. In fact, if you can send it within a few hours after the event concludes, the better. You want to give them a summary of the meeting, the recording of the meeting, but above all, a strong call to action. If it was a fundraising event saying, thank you for attending, here's the link to give. If it was for inner healing, did you set up your appointment? If it was just to get them ready for a conference and you did this as an introduction, don't forget to register. Here's the link. Within 24 hours, they should have that. So write that letter even before you start your meeting. Don't scramble around. As much as you can prepare ahead of time, the better, okay, guys? So you're going to write an engaging letter 24 hours. Did you promote a book? Was the point of your entire meeting to promote a specific book? Then you're sending them the links to Amazon or to your bookstore to go and get the book or to enroll in your course or whatever it is that you wanted to get out of that session. For me, everybody that's here and everybody that's on my list, they're getting an email to say, would you please subscribe to FivefoldX Academy? Because in our next session, I'm going to tell you what our next session is. You guys are going to love it. In fact, Andrea, you're going to love it. I'll get to it soon. So we're going to do the write a letter within 24 hours. All right, that's for the first week. In the second week, you're going to write to them again and follow up again. With the third week, yes, ladies and gentlemen, the third week after your event, you're going to nurture them. You're going to follow up your teaching. You're going to say, you know how we dealt with that spirit of rejection in our session. Realize that once you've dealt with the demonic side, you also need to take these steps towards healing. Remember what we taught? We taught step A, step B, step C. That maintains connection, but it does something else. It produces loyalty. By week 3, your audience knows you. They know your voice. They're feeling comfortable with you. And let me tell you, your follow-up determines whether or not they attend the next event. You think that it's the event itself that convinces them whether or not they attend the next event. But do you know how many online events there are out there? Lots and lots and lots. What makes yours stand out? It's not that one event. It's the follow-up to that event. And that's why I said this is where most people fall down. Listen, I'm not going to lie. This is where I fall down. If we ever mess up as a team, ask Rebecca. She's got her face like, yep. If ever we mess up on this, it's that right there. We don't follow up correctly. 3 weeks of follow-up, guys. 3 weeks of follow-up after every single event. And don't forget, here's a little trick. Don't forget to also send those follow-ups to the people who said they would come but didn't. What? Absolutely. Absolutely. Don't get all salty. Yes, listen. You have no room to be salty in this business. You know what? There could be 100 reasons why they didn't come to your event. Don't take it personally. But if they're on that mailing list, if they subscribed and didn't show up, they should still get all your follow-up letters. If nothing else, maybe they'd say, I can't believe I missed that. I've got to make sure that I'm in my next one. As you look at this entire structure that I've given you, and when you read through the notes for yourselves, guys, I hope that what you're perceiving here is that having an online event is not just about how much you've got to teach them, but it's about the relationship you're to nurture with them, to create an ongoing customer, an ongoing loyal member, an ongoing relationship where the two of you grow together in this dynamic. And that's on you. When we're pioneering something, it's for us to set the tone and it's for us to create the culture. Don't become offended when people unsubscribe. Don't become offended when people don't attend. It's not on them. It's on you. This is what God has told you to do. So it's for you to create an environment that makes them feel comfortable and keeps them coming back for more. Now, before I conclude and take any final question, Mike says, no salty peeps. And Cheryl says, so when we are preparing for an event, we must determine ahead of time what the follow-up is going to be. Absolutely, Cheryl, but I already gave you a nice little template in the notes. So when you read it, you can take what I gave you of the little things that should be in that follow-up email for you to send everybody. Okay, I say it nice and clear for you there. I say I'll make your life so easy. Come on, y'all. If you apply these principles, I promise you, you will be a success. I promise you, if you have a fundraiser, you're going to raise money. If you're having a prophetic event, people are going to prophesy, and then they're going to come back for more to go deeper. Some resources. This is going to help you guys out a little bit. You don't have to use these systems. These are some of the systems we use, and I find them pretty helpful. I've been using a program lately called Read.io. Read.io. It integrates with Zoom, and but you can use it actually in many different platforms. I just use it specifically for Zoom. And in fact, if you look at the screen there, you see something there that's called Colette's Note Taker. Do you guys see that for those of you in the room? That's my Read.io. So what's happening right now is that program is transcribing everything that I'm saying. And it's also transcribing, if we're having a meeting, everything everyone's saying. But what's powerful about that, remember I said you needed to write a follow-up email? When this thing has finished and I go to the app afterwards, it gives me a summary. If I don't like that summary, what I usually like to do is it's got AI and I say, please give me a point form, concise summary of everything I told my audience to do in the session. And you know what it does? In 30 seconds, it spits out the bottom line of everything that I said. I take that and that goes in my recap letter that needs to go out within 24 hours. How cool is that? You don't even need to write copy. You don't need to be clever. You can just, it's an incredible program. It's worth every dime, and it's not even expensive. It's like what, $20 a month or something. It's an incredible resource. If you're holding regular meetings of any kind, do yourself a favor and get that app, because even now, because you know I have so many apprentices, I have a lot of one-on-ones, I do a lot of coaching, and they sometimes I didn't make enough personal notes, and I come to my next session, I'm going, oh man, what was the last thing that I told them now? And then I'm scrambling to my assistant saying, please just give me a list. Now I just go to Read AI. I say, just what was the last thing I told Cheryl in our meeting? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, I remember. I put it in my notes and everything's nice and neat for me. Powerful program. For those who wanted to ask about what mailing programs, we use a couple of mailing programs. We've used MailChimp, and I'm currently using Kit at the moment. Used to be ConvertKit, now it's just called Kit. I use that. I love their templates, and I really love that it integrates with Mighty Networks, because we use Mighty Networks to keep everybody, you know, all our events and that. So for those of you who are going the community way, you want to check out Kits then. And then Kajabi. Kajabi, they're up in their prices again. I'm a little bit side by side. It's a really good system if you're having these events that allows for landing pages. You know, these email automations that I told you about, they actually have templates for all of that. So that cuts down a lot of your time. For those of you who have admins who can put it all together, it's pretty incredible with that. And then you can even copy and duplicate those automations. So if you're having a meeting once a month, like every month you're having one of these, you can just duplicate all of those emails, change the content, and done. So that's great for Kajabi, but be warned, their pricing is going up. And I don't mind a program charging more if they're giving me more, but I haven't seen major progress and changes to their system for them. So I'm keeping my eye on them. I'm keeping my eye. The only reason why I haven't changed, to be really honest with you, is it's such a schlep to have to go and redo all my landing pages and have to go and, so I like have to decide, do I have to want to move all my customers to another system? That's the only reason why I haven't changed. But if they keep increasing their price without upgrading their system, then no. Another one for you business people and for the nonprofits, Calendly saves souls. It saves people. It saves timelines. It saves me. I love Calendly. And by the way, Calendly can be monetized. Calendly has its own follow-up emails. For those of you who do any form of coaching, Calendly is an incredible resource as well. It also can integrate into your Google Calendar, into your Apple program. And for those of you as well who are nonprofits, here are some of the nonprofits we're familiar with. If you need any help with them, you're more than welcome to ask in the community. And DonorDoc, Gively, Bloomerang, Network for Good. Rebecca can throw a few more down. We're familiar with all those systems. If you guys need any help on navigating any of them to set up your events and your landing pages. Now remember guys, I already taught you on landing pages. In fact, Dalton Beckering taught you on landing pages. If you want to do a landing page for your event, which I highly recommend, go back to that teaching, learn how to do a landing page. And it sounds like a lot of work. But once you've got this all set up, you're going to get metrics. Guys, if you want to see real results to your events, the anointing God has already given to you. You can't work up the anointing. You can increase capacity when you use it, but you can't work up anointing. I want to end by saying this. It hurts me tremendously to see powerfully anointed, talented, charismatic leaders with treasures for God's people that house all of that in a disorganized mess that nobody can follow and nobody can keep in touch with or connect with. It pains me. It's a waste of oil. It's a waste of oil if that oil doesn't drip on God's people. It's a waste of wisdom if that wisdom is not delivered to God's people. It's a waste of your time, of your money, of your hopes and dreams to throw a disorganized event out without any purpose. And you know who gets most disillusioned is you. If you look back at the events you've tried to do, actually whether they were live or online, and you didn't see results, I hope that after you've looked at my list, you see why. And probably, I'm guessing, and that's before I ask you the question, that you saw the mess up at the follow-up. But out of everything that you learned here today, which part do you realize, no, I didn't even think of doing? And I can see why those events didn't work out. You're more than welcome to put it in the chat box if you've got the courage to jump in there and share where you feel like you can definitely grow. In which of these areas do you feel you need to grow? Now, depending on who I'm working with in my team, there's different areas we need to grow. Like in some in my team, you know who you are. I'm staring at you, is communication. Oh my goodness. Yeah, you see he's hiding himself. You saw that, right? You saw him cover the camera with his hand because you know the truth. Communication. But follow up as well. Last minute invites. Oh, that's a good one. Yes, that's got to stop. Follow up. Absolutely. Jackie, don't feel bad. Listen, the follow up we should be spending more time on the follow up than we even did on the introduction. Hit the send button. You tell him, Rebecca. Okay, you've never done an online meeting, so all of this is needed. Okay, Cheryl, here's the thing, because you're one of my apprentices as well, my darling. When you have your first meeting, I'm going to be there to help you run it. How's that? You let me know. I'm going to come and help you run your first meeting. And if they're learning how to use the platforms, Audra, yeah. There's a lot of them. And like I said, guys, because you're already on the system, you can post questions. Now, if any of you need a one-on-one with me, I need you to know I am available. You can schedule me for a one-on-one. You can go to apostlecolette.com. Whether you're watching this online or whether you're in the room right here, if you need a one-on-one with me to help you with your meeting, to help you with your online store, or you need to pitch an idea and get some feedback and help me coach you through it, I do take coaching appointments depending on my calendar. So yes, first come is first serve. You can book it at apostlecolette.com. Rebecca's over there. She's put it there. And Cheryl, I look forward to that meeting because now that you said you're going to have it, I'm going to be chasing you and be like, so when's our meeting at? And then I'm going to make you go over these notes again and give me a nice, beautiful protocol list before we even get started. Follow-up is very good, Brooke. I tell you what, it changes everything. You can already apply that for the circles that you're in at the moment. Do we have any questions before I close the session? Rebecca, are there any questions online? None? Awesome. Okay. Raise your hand. Look at the twins, y'all, while we're all here. Look at my beautiful twin grandbaby boys. Do you see them? Do you see these beautiful angels? Look at them smiling at their Lita. Oh my goodness, are you seeing these faces? Except for Rafa. He has got the biggest stank face. If anybody could be like frowning at you and smiling at you at the same time, it's Rafa. Look at these boys. Aren't they absolutely gorgeous? For those of you online, I don't know if you can see them. I don't know if Rebecca put them on the screen. She didn't put them on the screen. But we'll be having their dedication on. Oh, there they are. Come on. Say, hey, Rayma. You see, Rayma's already saying hello, and Rafa's trying to check you out. Hey boys, it's Yolita. They're so cute. But we'll be having their baby dedication on the 12th. Next Sunday, we'll be having their, it is Sunday, yes. We'll be having their baby dedication and I can't wait. We'll be streaming that as well so you guys can all be a part of it. I'm so excited. They are 5 months old and that Craig and I get the opportunity to, wow. You know, I was just pondering this the other day. I was like, wow, God really did make me the mother of nations. Look at that. Look at these boys. Aren't they absolutely spectacular? Michelle says, I hate missing today's session. Listen, Michelle walk away. This girl, she applies everything that I teach her. I'm so proud of you, Michelle. And you're rocking it to see your business booming. It's just that's my happy place. Your success is my success. Okay? You got questions, you post them on the community. For those of you online, you can watch the replay. I'm going to take it down in a few more days though, because I want you guys to sign up. I want you in the room. myapostolicmentor.com. This is a donation-based event. I want to accelerate you. I want to see your finances increase. I want to see you taking everything that God's given you and put it out there. Okay? Let's grow together. Have an incredible Sunday, you guys, and I'll see you on the 5th of November. I quickly do my math there. The 5th of November. And guess what we're going to be teaching? I'm going to be bringing a speaker on, and the subject is going to be all around branding. Branding your business, branding your ministry, branding your school, branding your online presence. And I promise you, it's got a lot more to do than just what colors you're going to choose. Branding is a powerful subject, so come ready to learn to study.